Well, money is nice, but easily spent. Pretty soon we're just shaking our heads, wondering where it all went. And only love can buy life's lasting gifts for working sticks, for working sticks.
Good morning, TSD Town. It's time for the TSD General Store Old-Timey Radio Show.
TSD Town General Store.
That's what I said.
No, you didn't. You said TSD General Store.
All right, let me do it again. Good morning, TSD Town. It's time for the TESD Town General Store Old-Timey Radio Show with...
The Working Stiffs.
Oh, that was a weak slide whistle. Do it again. Perfect.
The slide whistle qualities seem to have gone down since the pandemic.
Never blame yourself. It's always the tools.
It's Tim's fault.
I'm Walt. He's Git'em.
Yes, I am.
We got a packed show today, Git'em.
Woohoo!
We have some listener questions. We have our first ever in-studio guest. And we will be interviewing a real-life working stiff. But I thought we would open up the show with some entries from the store log book.
Entries from the store log.
This is sounding more and more like a morning radio show. Is exactly what I was hoping for.
Okay, well, yeah, that's the vibe you wanted. You wanted, so.
Like if you could start doing voices like Garmin, like that was a pretty good Picard, right?
That was supposed to be Kirk, but okay. Or it could be my Janeway. They're both about the same.
But yeah, like if you start working on your voices, like this can really become like a true radio program that, like, from the mornings that we grew up with.
Like Zoinks, Walt, totally.
No, that doesn't. That's a cartoon. No, that's not. That has nothing to do with a radio show.
Well, it's a voice.
Yeah, and okay, all right. Let's just get to the log.
All right.
Let's to the log, because the first entry that I wanted to read. Is an important one.
Okay.
On 7/5.
7/5, the day after 4th of July.
It was a Monday. The store opened to little fanfare, and it closed to even less fanfare at I believe 4:30. I kind of left early because there was no customers in that day at all.
Yeah.
And I exited the store.
Okay.
And I happened to look down the street just before I cross over the street to go to my car.
Very good advice. Look both ways before crossing.
And I saw a gentleman wearing a 4-color demon shirt, and I thought it was a safe assumption that he was on his way to, at the very least, to the stash. But I thought possibly he might want to come into the general store.
He's on his way to TESD Town. On his way down to TESD Town.
People are either gonna love it, or they're going to hate this new tone.
Well, we can always replay Git'em Rob Bruce, the unedited cut, because what you heard was the edited cut.
Yeah, that wasn't the full-length version.
It was a good 15 minutes of cut material
that I just could not with a good conscience unleash on the listeners.
I had to make sure there was no box cutters on the poker table when you were listening to it, because I saw you looking for them.
It made me so angry while listening to it, because it was so frustrating because both of you guys would just not shut up and just stay on topic. It was just this constant one-upmanship of like, I'm smarter. No, I'm smarter. I'm more savvy. No, I'm more savvy. It was just unbearable at times. I cut out a lot of that bullshit.
Okay, I try to think I just let him go off on his own.
Yeah, but let's get back to this entry, though.
Okay, so you look down the street, saw a 4-color demon shirt.
Yes.
Is it the same one that we have available for sale in the store?
Yes, it is.
Oh, wow.
So I rushed back inside, reopened the general store, and a gentleman named Chris from Utah Came in, and he then proceeded to break the all-time highest transaction at the general store. You know,
Wow.
He dropped $375. Thus, trumping. Oh, no, trumping's not a good word. Thus, beating the previous record.
Okay.
Which was a guy who ran a tattoo shop who was just in recently. I didn't tell him. He was in to buy some Zippos, but I didn't tell him that his record had been broken.
Oh, he's going to find out now.
Yeah, but he's going to find out now. But yeah, so for Chris from Utah, you know, a shout out to him. I feel the sales have gone up in July. I feel it was a pretty good month.
I think we're opening up more. Let's hope that trend continues.
Opening up, what, because of the pandemic?
The country more. People are getting out and
I don't know what it is, but I feel like the sales have been better though, and the traffic has been brisker,
yes.
which is a good thing. So I hope that continues, and I thank anybody who comes out to the store.
Yes, we thank you.
This record right here,
Yes.
could remain from now until doomsday. It's fine with me.
All right.
I don't say it to try to prompt someone to beat it or to try to get somebody to one-up Chris, but...
Yeah. But if you just want to come down here to buy something, you can. Or if you just want to come down here and hang out with the working stiffs, you can do that as well.
Yeah, what a day that is to say that you hung out with the working stiff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And there was another entry I wanted to talk about.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, it was on 7/17, a Saturday.
Oh, okay. I have inklings of what this is about.
I arrived at the store pretty early, at 11:10 a.m.
That's very early.
Yeah, usually I roll in between 12 and 12:30.
Let's say that.
But I noticed your car wasn't in the parking lot, and I said to myself, my first thought was, his car broke down. He had to bring it to the shop, or not even broke down. You heard the slightest little tiny noise, and in a panic, you had to, barrel down to the mechanic at 100 miles per hour because you happened to hear a noise.
But R&W is not open on Saturdays and Sundays, so
That's your mechanic?
yes.
Okay.
Bob, great guy. Love him to death.
Okay, but so then I proceeded to come into the store, and the lights were out, which, I was hoping that maybe you were in here and maybe you just, like you said, you had dropped the car off, but it was apparent that the store was in the same condition as when we left it the night before.
Okay.
So then I started to, as the time rolled on, I was like, I didn't hear from you, and I texted you, didn't get a text. I was like, I'm just going to put it out there because I don't think it's a shock. Nobody would be shocked if, someone was like, hey, Git'em keeled over last night, because of your current health conditions.
Okay.
You got a lot going on. And so my thinking was, well, maybe I should drive over to where you're staying.
Okay.
See if your car is there. And if it is, knock on the door. If it wasn't there, I wasn't going to knock on the door because I thought possibly...
If where you walked up to had a door, you would knock on that door.
I thought possibly you were lying on the cellar. Maybe you were the night before you were inebriated and maybe you had vomited, and I wanted to make sure someone needed to turn you over. Because I would,
By that point, it'd be a little late, but okay.
Well,
yeah.
In my mind, I still got time.
Okay.
So I drove over to the place. I pulled into.
What was mouth to mouth on the table?
I really have to be honest with you. I wasn't going to cross that bridge until I called 911.
Okay.
And if they were like, you got to do 911, sir, I would have been like,
can I send you a picture of what this guy looks like? Maybe you'll change your mind then.
Can I text you real quick?
We gotta look up a YouTube video.
So I pulled up into the driveway. I kind of went far into the driveway to see if your car was parked far back.
Because it's usually parked. I'm not allowed to park in the driveway proper because it's only one lane, so she wouldn't be able to get out. So I park up on the lawn a little behind a bush, so it's tough to see from the road.
I felt it was a good sign that your car was not there. That means either you didn't make it home last night or you got out early and something's going on. But it's very unusual for you not to be at the stash.
Yes.
At 11 a.m. on time. If you tell me you're going to be here,
yes,
you can set your watch by it.
Yes.
Right. So it was super unusual. I don't want people to think that this was like me just overreacting, because now I'm like, well, you're still not answering texts.
Yes.
And so finally, I'm going to call Jeff. I'm going to see what he thinks I should do because I want to see if he thinks I'm overreacting. And if he thinks I'm overreacting, I'm going to go back to the general store and I'm just going to, like, turn on Love Boat and he'll show up when he shows up. So I call Jeff and I'm like, hey, Git'em didn't show up to work today. And he goes, really? I go, yeah. I go, and he didn't tell you? And I was like, no. And he goes, He goes, you can pretty much, that's set that watch to that, like, he's going to be there, but he's going to be there. Where else has he got to go? And I was like, I know. I go, well, have you checked around town? And I was like, well, no. I said, well, where would I go? He goes, well, he goes to the library and he just hangs out and drinks down at the library.
Not hang out and drink at the library.
The parking lot, not in the library.
No, yeah. So there's the Red Bank Library has free Wi-Fi, and you can get it from outside. There's actually parking spots that have Wi-Fi symbols on them. Right. So that's where you can park, and also you get a beautiful view of the Navasink River. Plus, you roll down your windows and you're getting a breeze. So it's really nice.
It's a nice little spot.
Nice way to kill some time. Yeah.
Right. So he goes, he may have passed out the night before, and it was like 99 that day. So I was like, well, dude, if he passed out the night before, it's noon. I go, he may not be alive if he passed out the night before and he's still in that car. I said. So he goes, well, I would go over there and see if he's over there. And I was like, wow, you're concerned. He goes, yeah, I mean, come on, let's not kid ourselves. He said, I mean, look at the state he's in. I mean, are you going to be shocked if he just fucking, he croaked last night?
I like it because while everyone admits I'm not the best employee in the world and I'm probably pretty shitty at my job at points in time, the fact that I don't show up it's like, well, that's completely unnatural.
Yeah, it is.
Happened at my last job when we went to the beach house with some aunts, and I ended up passing out on a couch, and I forgot to go to work the next morning.
Forgot.
Yeah, I slept through my alarms and everything. They sent a police officer to the farm to check to see if I was okay.
Oof.
Again, for all the times that jerkwad complained about me over there, he called and pulled a favor and got a cop to go over and do a welfare check.
So Jeff's kind of like, well, keep me in the loop. Let me know what's going on. And so I get off the phone with him, and I call my wife then. Okay. And I was like, what should I do here? Should I call the cops? She goes, well, why don't you just go over to the hospital? She goes. And this is a true story. Okay. This is not, I'm not embellishing. And I was like, really? I go, what do I do? And she goes, well, first off, she goes, that the name that you make me write a check out to, is that the right name? I go, I think so. I think that's the right name. And she goes, well, then I would go over to the hospital, see if anybody's checked in under that name, and at least he's not there then. Because I don't think they'll do it over the phone, she said. They might do it in person. So I was like, you don't think I'm overreacting? I go, you've only met him like a handful of times. She goes, yeah, but I mean, would you be shocked if he was in the hospital or worse? And I was like, no one seems to be that I'm telling this to. So yeah, I guess we all have to assume that he could be incapacitated.
Now at this point, I'm only an hour late.
No, it's closing in an hour and a half, I think.
Okay. All right, closer to an hour and a half.
So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go over to the hospital. I said, first I'm going to go check the library because Jeff told me to check the library. Then I'll go over to the hospital. And as I walk to my car, you pull around into the parking lot, and I'm like, dude.
You make me roll down my window because I had the AC cranking.
I go, what the fuck? I go, why didn't you just tell me? I'm like, you don't have to be here. You don't have to be at the general store.
Yeah.
But if you're not going to be here, you should at least have the courtesy to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to be late or I'm not coming in tomorrow.
It was unplanned what happened. I just got an idea in my head not to try to bury the lead. What happened was you got me a nice scanner for Christmas.
Yeah, we're going off. We're going off.
No. This plays into it. It has a feature called close call technology, where if you're near somebody broadcasting, it can pick it up and it logs it. So I was like, you know what? The track's having a big event today, the Haskell. Right. I said, let me go over. I'll sit in the parking lot for like a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, and I'll just listen in on the radio transmissions and see if I can pick up any frequencies that I can store for later use. And I'm like, Walt doesn't come in till 12, 12:30, 1 o'clock anyway, so he won't even notice that I'm just a little tiniest bit late. So that's what I did. And then afterwards, I decided, well, if I get to the store now, in an hour, I'm going to have to go get lunch. So why don't I just get lunch first? So I was about an hour and a half, 45 minutes late, quote unquote.
Right.
So
you pull in, and I'm like, dude, you can't do that.